Hey, how y'all doing? I thought I'd try to do a series of videos showing how I go about making my pocket knives, and I'm going to start off with showing my patterns, and how I use them, and explain why I use the material I do, which is basically the liner material there um, for my patterns. Anyway, first off, I want to thank everybody recently that's subscribed to the channel. And well, for all my subscribers that are following along my knife making journey, I do appreciate it. Um, I'm still very much a novice, so how I go about doing things I'm sure may change over time, and I'll do my best to kind of explain what I'm doing here and there. Anyways, um, and for anybody from the YTPC community that's come over and checked me out, I do thank you, especially considering that this isn't the normal videos I'm sure most of y'all watch. Um, and I do want to give a special thank you to Hillbilly Piper. He sent me a care package there at Christmas, and tell you what, he was very generous, and it really made my Christmas a little extra special there. I really appreciated that. And on top of all that, he even shouted me out on one of his previous videos there. So that was a kind of flabbergasted a little bit how generous he is, but I really do appreciate it. Um, Seems like a really good guy. But anyways, I will get on and get into my video here and start showing my patterns and explaining how I go about using them. Okay, on to actually getting into the meat of the subject here a little bit. Be forewarned, I might bump my gums a little bit on this, and I will do my best to keep it as short and concise as possible. I am, as I think I mentioned before, using liner material. A lot of makers, a lot more prominent than me, I might add, like to use hardened patterns. And I've tried that, and I didn't have much luck with it because I am not good at all at being precise when I am shaping things. I can get things very close, and I do a better job at working it in, say like when I'm setting up my tang and back spring on my rice fall jig I made. Um, and to my understanding, a lot of makers, whenever they're scribing lines around their tangs, they're they're leaving things proud anyways. Um, but they'll have their liners holes pre-drilled as well as their back spring holes pre-drilled. And for me, that just caused me to scrap more parts. Um, so for me, I'm not quite wired to do things like that. So I want to keep obviously my holes in the same spot to drill. So of course I have all the holes in the back spring, but just the end holes in my liner material. So that way, after I get my back spring and the tang fit up on my rice fall jig, how I want it, I will then preset the tension by drilling the hole in the liner. That way I'm not having to worry about trying to, I know one maker, and he makes beautiful knives, but I know one maker said that how he gets his pretension where he wants it is he leaves his walk proud, and then he will slowly work that in till he gets gets close to where he wants his pretension at, and goes from there. And for me personally, that would be more time consuming than I'd want to put in, I guess you might say. It's easier and quicker for me to just go ahead and fit that up, get my back spring shaped close to where my scribe line is on this, and then set my pretension after. But that's just my preference. So when it comes to making things like this, you kind of need to do the best you can at gathering information and then figuring out what works for you, because everybody's kind of a little different on their preferences. because I'm starting to get, I'll show this here as an example. This is my Country Gentleman. But what I did, as you can see, I leave a lot of material proud. I'm doing I heat treat, and then I go ahead and get everything fit up in my rise fall jig. That way I'm only doing it once. But I have it shaped. See if I can get it here where you can see. Actually, might be better just throw a throw a pin in it. That way it'll hold it, and I'll hold this end. But see, I have the spine of it really, really, really close to where I want it. I do still have the end here a little proud, which that's fine. But I want the spine to be as close as possible. That way I can punch in my nail nick, and I know that's going to be very, very close to the finished spine height. That keeps things on track with that. I punch that in, surface grind it, and then I drill my pivot hole there. That way everything stays square. But like before heat treatment, that ain't even close to shape. That's just a blob. And that's personally how I go about it. And then I'll scribe my lines, and after heat treat, and then I will grind it in close. I'll still leave things proud, and then I'll go to my rise fall jig and get in to where I want it, where I get it to where I want it. Then I put the pre-tension hole, drill the center hole with pre-tension, I should say. Okay, but anyways. Oh yeah, and one last thing on it, and this is my trapper pattern. I actually copied my Wharncliffe sway back pattern handle. I made this a touch bigger to accommodate the trapper blade. But that's just a kind of a quick tip. You don't have to have a specific pattern. You can actually kind of, hey, this handle, turn it up like this. That's kind of a classic trapper pattern shape. Anyways, just a real quick thought there. That's enough of me talking about that. But I will I'll get out here and set up and demonstrate how I go about using a pattern. So I'll get things set up and I'll be back. Okay, I've cut a piece of metal out here that my pattern will fit onto. And of course everything is big. I'm just cutting things out with my angle grinder with a cutoff wheel right now. So I always keep things a little proud, because that having a bandsaw would be prime, but at this point I'm still making do with the old angle grinder. Okay, and I'm going to demonstrate real quick how I go about getting a pattern transferred onto the metal. Okay, so I got my center punch here, and I will hold it where I want it. There we go. Got a nice little divot in there. And I will take you over here to my drill press. I forgot I had that moved so I can see what I was cutting. There we go. Let me see. I might tilt you all up a little bit here. That way you can see a little bit better. But as you can see, I've not scribed no lines or nothing yet. Just made that, punched that end hole there. And it might help if I plug the old machine in, wouldn't it? There we go. go. Got us a nice hole. Come back over here. Set you back up here. And now, I just use an big old drill bit to get the burrs off. I just press down and I twist it. There we go. And do the other side real quick. Find out if I twist the metal, I ain't cutting into my hands by gripping down here, because those edges are sharp. Found that out the hard way. Okay, now get me a pin. See, I had to sit this way. Okay, see, and now that's holding this end right where I want it. Okay, so now all I got to do is hold this end. Get my center punch again. Press it down in the hole. The hole's small enough that it's holding everything. Punch that center hole. Take the pin out. Got another. So we'll do it again. Try it over here to the old drill press. Get all these wiped off here. Don't want to throw these holes off square. There we go, got both of these holes drilled. I'll just set you up again here for now, that way I can get this burr off real quick. There we go. And I'm using a Sharpie. I never have broke down and got any Dykem or anything like that. And I just cover it. Honestly, sometimes I don't even do this. Because with a good scribe, you might have to look a little harder or something other, but you can still see the scribe lines. But now on video, this will definitely be a lot easier to see. So I'm going ahead and doing that. I didn't want to stay up there, did it? There we go. See, and this went, yes, like that. Throw pins in there. Oh, I wonder if as you can tell, I'm definitely not an expert. I'm just trotting along the best I can with trying to figure out what works for me. Okay, now, see this back spring's held steady, or I should say the pattern of my back spring. So now, I can confidently go around it, scribe next to it. I mean, things can still wiggle a little, but overall it's held where it needs to be. And I'm using just cheap Amazon carbide scribe pins. There we go. Take this off. Well, I got a Butaceous thumbprint there. But now I have my holes drilled and my scribe lines to where I know where I need to grind to. Okay, I thought I'd go ahead and show. I got a couple more cut out here. And I went ahead and shaped the back springs. They're not all the way to the scribe lines, but they're close. On this one here I showed you, that is the easiest way to do it without, say, making a mistake. But otherwise, you can just hold the pattern onto the metal and scribe around it and just stay proud, and then go through the process of center punching and drilling the holes, same as that one up there. Anyways, main one thing I want to show here is on the blade. As you can see, I've got my scribe lines on it, but at the top, if it'll focus, you can see I'm right on the scribe line. You can still just see it. So that is very, very close. Whereas the rest of it, I ain't even bothering doing anything to it until after I heat treat it. But I got the blade ready to punch in my nail nick now, because I know the spine of it is just right off from where I need it. And the same on this Wharncliffe blade here. I got it right next to the scribe line for the spine. So I got the blades here ready to punch in the nail nicks, and then I will surface grind everything, make sure they're flat, same thickness as blade and back spring, and go from there. But this is all I'm going to show in this video. I appreciate you following along, and maybe you learned something. Maybe you learned something good or bad. Might try it, might stay away from it. But anyways, hope y'all's having a good day, and I'll talk to you later.